I am joined today by Kasa and Leban, who are two of our amazing coaches in our program, to give you a little bit more of a perspective of what they do in their roles. So you don't just have to hear the nuts and bolts from me. Matt's also done a great job of explaining everything that the LTC does, and coaching is just one of the services. So our program is a year-long program in which we have instructional technology coaches that are contracted out to school districts across the state of Illinois to work on all things coaching within districts. Our model is a shared service model. So districts that are in a close geographical region will actually partner together to share the cost of a coach. The coach is an LTC employee, so the districts don't have to worry about hiring someone full-time or having all the paperwork and everything that comes with having a full-time employee. We take care of that end of it. The coaches that we have this year are servicing anywhere from one district by themselves to up to 4 districts. We try and get coaches in school buildings around 170 days, give or take a few days. We need to be somewhere close to that number in order to hire a new coach for districts. And it is up to the districts to determine how many days they need. We have contracts that range anywhere from 20 days for a school year all the way up to 160 days. So we really work with the districts to figure out what it is that you might need, and we go from there. So this year, we have a total of 8 coaches working across 18 school districts. The school districts, as you can see, are all over the state. We have coaches in special education cooperatives, high schools, elementary schools, really all types of schools that are out there. This year, in those 18 school districts, our coaches are servicing 75 individual schools within those districts. That gives them access to over 2,000 educators and to help impact instruction for those educators who in turn are impacting the education of over 26,000 schools. So we have a fantastic range, and I really feel a strong impact across the state of Illinois. Some of the things that a coach might do in district is coaching cycles. A coaching cycle is where a coach will sit down with an individual teacher, or in some cases a grade level, and look at a problem of practice and go through roughly between a 4 to 6 week cycle to help them solve that process. They are researching, they are co-teaching, they are reflecting throughout that process. And again, the end goal is something that the teacher wants to do to improve their professional practice that's going to affect students. Our coaches do a lot of professional development. Sometimes they do professional development for the entire school. Sometimes they do professional development for smaller subgroups, say grade levels or all the librarians in a district or so on. We do a whole bunch of co-teaching and modeling. You're going to see some pictures of that, and both Anne and Jen might speak to that as well. We also have some of our coaches that are helping districts just with district initiatives and district plans. For example, we have one of our coaches that has a very strong reading background. So their district was looking to shore up their curriculum and develop a curriculum map. That's something that if our coach has that type of expertise, they can help with. We do a lot of resource development. Of course, we do a lot of recommendations and helping with technology and making sure that teachers are utilizing technology that districts have already purchased. So they do a wide range of services. Usually a few times a year, I'll ask the coaches, what are you working on right now? And they'll fill out a form. And what I could do with that then is take it and turn it into a word cloud. And you can see this word cloud on the left of the screen. This is from the last time I asked the coaches, what are you working on right now? Words that you see that are in larger print are words that multiple coaches have put down. So you can see above and beyond the list that I just showed, they're doing many other things within districts. A little bit more about our coaches. All of them are former classroom teachers, so they have a strong understanding of both the pedagogy and also the technology. So they make fantastic resources for teachers. They have a wide range of knowledge and also talent. We have coaches that are passionate and specialize in social emotional learning, some that are national board certified teachers, others that come in with a very strong math background. So they have a wide range of talents that they bring to the program. Being hive-minded, I'd say this is probably, for me, the number one benefit to school districts. When a school district joins our LTC coaching program, they don't just get one coach. They might get one coach in their day-to-day building, but realistically, they get the collective hive mind of all of our coaches. We are a Google organization, so we use Google Chat, and the coaches are multiple times daily, connecting with each other, sharing resources, asking for advice, and so on. I also think with this hive mind, it's great for a school district because they are understanding the pulse of what's happening across the entire state, because we have coaches throughout the region and throughout the entire state of Illinois. When they get together, they can again talk about trends that they're seeing in their areas that might help other areas as well. They are all Google certified coaches. Google has a coaching program, and one of our requirements here at the LTC is that they do go through and become a Google certified coach. That helps them with a little bit more of structured best practices for coaching and also understanding coaching cycles more. And they're all self-starters. They were all hired for very specific reasons. They're all just amazing human beings, and they don't necessarily need to be managed, even though I'm the manager of the program. I oversee the program, but they don't need any of that because they are self-starters and they're passionate about coaching in general. So in terms of them being LTC employees, I always like to make sure school districts know that I am very passionate myself, not only about coaching, but making sure that the coaches in our program are well equipped and ready to go into school districts across the state. We meet as a collective group every Monday, so all of the coaches have an opportunity to talk about what they're seeing, ask questions, share resources, and so on. I also meet with the coaches one-on-one, depending on the amount of experience they have as coaches. It could be anywhere from every 2 weeks I'll meet with them up to once a month. We do internal book studies that help us with our coaching practice. We also do a lot of internal professional development. I'm a former coach. I coached for 10 years in the Chicago public school system, so I'll often lead professional development around topics that would help the coaches. But then also, because our coaches do have so much other expertise outside, they can come in and do other PD for their peers as well. So we're constantly learning in different formats, as you can see here. Our coaches do attend all of the LTC staff meetings, so they are current and up to date with all of the initiatives that are taking place in the LTC. And often we find that once they get into a school district, there are other LTC programs, whether it's IT or it's SAPA compliance or phishing campaigns or even help with E-rate funding. Our coaches have an opportunity to learn about those districts and their needs, so then they can say, hey, we've got somebody at the LTC that can help you with that. So I like to think of that as, even though the LTC services everybody in the state of Illinois, this is just a little bit quicker way to get to services because your LTC coach can make sure you are utilizing all of our services to the best of your ability in a district. And then also our coaches not only attend conferences to help strengthen their pedagogy, they also attend and present conferences as well. So that's a quick overview by some of the things that coaches do just from my end as the director in the program. Now I'd like to turn it over to Anne, who's going to give you a little bit of a sampling of some of the things that she does in her current districts. Anne?
Hi, thank you so much for having me here, Nicole. We appreciate you and all you do so much. She really does support us and that hive mind. So thank you. My name is Ann Kasa. I am a tech coach in Southern Cook County, Illinois. I have, like Nicole said, we're all Google certified coaches. I have a specialty in SEL. I've been an SEL facilitator through Breathe for Change now. And I also am a Nearpod coach. When I start with the school year with a district, I like to meet with district admin. I like to meet with principals before the school year even gets started, so I can learn what their goals are for the year. And then I can build my coaching support around those goals. When I do that, you can see a part there, it says coaching options. I send that out to the teachers with a link to my Calendly link. And Calendly is how the teachers will get in touch with me and set up dates with me for sessions, for cycles, and they can do that in advance. So that way it's fitting their schedule. They don't feel like they're being imposed upon. It's more like they're inviting me to come join them and help them. I like to revolve my choices around the 4 C's to keep that conversation going. But as you can see, there's also new tools that are coming into districts. So I like to put that in there as well. My famous tagline is, how can I help? Because that's what we're there to do, is to help and support. And I always say it's just like putting our hand on somebody's shoulder and just slowly walking with them is how we work as coaches. I work for 2 school districts. I work for Burnham and Sauk Village. And this picture at the top here is of our students working with a Finch bot. And a quote that I pulled really resonated me from the student reflection pieces that we did. It says, when playing with the Finch, it felt like I was in the future. And that's it. That's what we're looking for, are these students to just feel like they can do this and get these experiences that help them build. The center of this slide does have the coaching program cycle for the Google certified coaching. We always start with identifying, investigating, selecting, implementing, and reflecting on how everything went. I love that it's a circle because we can reflect and say, okay, now we need to try this. And then it'll lead us to a whole new path of instruction and ways we can partner together. The next picture has the District 168 symbol on it. That's me working with our preschool teachers on how to bring Osmos into their classroom. And we've been working on finding ways to make preschoolers a little more independent with using Osmos as ways to practice their letters, shapes, costume fun, matching. It's been a really good time there. So it ranges, like Nicole said, in what we do from one-to-one coaching, modeling in classrooms, providing staff development. You can see that lower picture, that's me and Jen presenting together, that hive mind that Nicole talked about. Jen and I, we love to work together, build projects together. The next one is about EdTech Next, where another coach and I were presenting together. We're always helping each other, offering slide decks, our past experiences, and seeing how the team can support your teachers. So it's one of my favorite parts about being with the LTC. So lovely, lovely team. They're just the best.
Thank you, Anne. All right. Oh, sorry. I'm going to go back one. Going too fast. Jen, tell us a little bit about what you're doing in your schools.
Sure. Hi, I'm Jen Leban. I also work in South Cook County, very close to Anne, obviously. And that resource of the shared knowledge across coaches is I feel like I can't stress that enough, how helpful it is, because Anne is kind of our SEL expert and she helps me with things. So one of the projects, not actually pictured here, but we developed a whole unit where students create these calm kits with strategies for like coping and mindfulness. And, I've done it with 4th grade. I've done it with 7th grade. So sometimes we develop these units that you can use all over the place. Anyways, I work in 2 districts specifically, South Holland 150 and Chicago Ridge 127.5. My workload is basically split half and half. So I'll be in one of the buildings in these districts anywhere from 2 to 3 days a week. So teachers know that they can expect to see me, on average minimum, 1 day a week. And my personal area is all things creative and art. I come from I said my origin story is I was an art teacher for 13 years before I became a tech teacher. And I kind of computer science kind of things going on. I'm Google certified innovator, obviously Google certified coach. I'm national board certified in early adolescent through young adult art. So, so that's my area. But if my teachers need help with math, if they need help with reading, I know who I can go to. Anne is also an excellent, has a very strong reading background. So if I don't know something, I know someone who does, and I can get that information, which I took a few notes here. One of the best things I can do for the teachers that I work with is I can help to take things off of their plate. And right now, teachers are feeling so overwhelmed and worried about, another thing to do. I have the time to research for them and to develop resources. I can take the time to evaluate tools and find out what's worth spending the time on and what's not. I can take time to advocate for teachers and for tools for them to use. It's all that kind of background work that teachers just don't have time for. And that's why things like tech sometimes fall by the wayside. The other really positive aspect of having one of us in your school is that I like to think that the coaches and actually everyone at the LTC, we have the emotional intelligence, we have those social skills in the technology world that I think is friendly and relatable for teachers. I think sometimes teachers are scared to ask questions about tech, or they're embarrassed that they don't know how to do something that they think they should know. Out of my mouth all the time, I'm like, I'm not here to judge, no judgment, ask me your questions. No, that's not silly. I totally get it. And I will help meet a teacher where they're at and bring them up, because my goal is to build confidence in teachers and empower them to use technology, but honestly, in any way that they need support with, because I'm an instructional technology coach, but I am an instructional coach. One of the things that is very similar to the Google Coaching Cycle program is in Google Innovator, we were very heavily trained in the design thinking process. So it's a lot of just another method for problem solving that we can use within the coaching cycle and within working with teachers to, identify issues and brainstorm how we might be able to best help support or overcome or solve these issues. And I'm checking my notes right now. I think I've hit all the things I needed to talk about. There are some pictures of things I've done. I'm pretty active on Twitter with posting and sharing out stuff that I've done. I'll go into classrooms and work with classes, but I'll also go in and provide PD to teachers. I also illustrate books. So I've even come into classes and talked to them about that. So we all have our unique traits that we just have that passion for teaching and for helping other teachers. And yeah, I think that we want to help. We're out there, and if we're not in classrooms, we are finding ways to get into classrooms. So I think that the return on the investment with a coach is it can't be stated enough. So thanks, Nicole.
Great, thank you. Yes, and it also helps, as I mentioned before, because you are all former educators, that helps with teachers, because teachers, when someone comes into their domain, sometimes, like you said, they're a little intimidated, or they don't want to let people know that they don't know how to do something. But knowing that they've got a former educator or a former classroom teacher, still an educator, coming in to help them can help bridge that gap as well, because they know that you understand the constraints that they have. I will also tell you, the audience, that very often as the director, I will get emails from districts basically saying, I want this coach, I don't want any other coach. And we don't move coaches around. If you're a good fit with your coach, you keep that coach unless, some extenuating circumstance happens. But we've also had a few instances where districts have said outright to me, I'm trying to hire your coach and they won't leave. And coaches have said, you know what? You want this hive mind, and the coaches love that they've got this close built-in connection where they can get, internal help. So I don't know, I guess that's a good thing that, they often try and poach our coaches. So a few more things to tell you about the program. So our coaches also collect data, because we do understand that data is extremely important to school leaders and school boards and so on. So with the data that is collected, I can generate reports for school districts. This year was our first year actually using this particular program that we're using. So I sent out reports to districts at the end of the first semester, and then again at the end of the third quarter, just basically saying, hey, this is how the coach in your district is spending their time. This is some information about the different types of responsibilities that they're covering, the different types of meetings that they're having. These are meant as an additional informational source for not only school administrators, but it allows you that chance to open up that conversation with the coach. We do encourage our districts to meet with their coaches as often as they can, but we do understand that sometimes administrators get too much on their plate and they think the coach is doing okay, I don't have to meet with them. But having reports like this, gives you an opportunity to strike up that conversation and to do some check-ins to make sure that you are getting what it is that you asked for from your LTC coach. So in terms of funding, we understand funding for coaching can be a little unnerving. We have a page on our website, and you will have a link to this presentation, so you'll be able to visit this page that just gives a little bit of background information about the types of funds that have been used to pay for coaches as well. The LTC is an Illinois Empower school or organization, I should say, not a school as well. And both Anne and Jen have mentioned great benefits to teachers and districts about our program. Some additional ones, again, your teachers in your district would receive ongoing professional learning opportunities and support. It wouldn't be somebody coming in one time and then all of a sudden leaving and you cross your fingers that you hope that what they were taught was implemented. A coach will be in there helping them, making sure that that is ongoing professional development. The research has also stated that it's the ongoing professional development that actually moves test scores. We think there's a very high return on investment for technology purchasing. Just about everyone in the world went one-to-one during the pandemic. It's time to get a return on that investment by actually bringing in somebody that is familiar with both the pedagogical side and also the technological side to be able to help you get an ROI on that equipment. There's less administrative burden because the coach is an LTC employee. We handle benefits and HR and all the paperwork, so that burden does not fall on the actual school district. We find that there's less initiative fatigue with the teachers. The coach isn't coming in as one more thing, because to Anne's point, the coaches are coming in and they're sitting down with the district administration, and the administration is saying, these are our initiatives, this is where we need support. And the coach is coming in as an additional layer to that support. So they're not piling something new on teachers. To Jen's point, they're taking things off of teachers' plates. And then finally, we see time and time again in survey data that we're getting back that teachers absolutely love having a coach. Just today, really just this morning, one of the coaches came into our private chat for the organization and said that she had a teacher tell her she wishes that she could just take her in her pocket and carry her around all day because she was so enamored by what the coach was helping her do. So we hear lots of positive feedback, and those are all fun. So in terms of the process, if this is something that you are interested in pursuing, basically what would happen is you would reach out to me, we would have a conversation, I would get an idea for how many days you would be looking to have a coach come in. If it is less than around 160, we would need to try and find some other school districts that are in a close proximity, roughly 45 minutes or so away, to join into a contract with you for a coach. Once we get close to around 160 days, roughly around that number, then what happens is, because all of our coaches currently are booked and are already accounted for and committed for next year, we would have to hire a new coach. And the way that process works is the LTC would put out the job description, and then the school districts that are signing a contract for a coaching service, you would sit in on those interviews and you would have a say in the coaches that were being hired, even though they're LTC employees, we're very strong in knowing that the coach has got to be a good fit for you. We've had instances in the past where districts have said, you know what, I'm just not feeling these candidates. I don't think my teachers would respond. And we went back to the drawing board and we opened up the process again, and we got someone in that they absolutely loved. And this particular coach, they all want to fight for more days, and there are no other days that the coach can give. So that's good news. So again, you would determine the amount of days that you want to have a coach in your district. We would try and find other school districts. We would hire a coach. And then basically what would happen is I would give you an onboarding doc that you as a district would fill out so that our coaches spend day number 1 hitting the ground running. They already know who they're reporting to, where they're going to be housed in the district, how they get in, what your protocol is for them entering classrooms. So on day 1 that they can get started as well. Then from there, we would have ongoing support. You would have an opportunity to connect with me as the director in person, online, via email, any way that we need to. Oftentimes, there's nothing that comes up. It's just quick check-ins, make sure everything is going okay. And then the coach is in district and doing amazing things and providing support. So that is it in a nutshell. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen in a moment, and I'm going to pop these 3 links into the chat. We can also make sure that these are sent to you after the webinar as well. This is our current team, and we are very excited to bring in new school districts and add new team members to build that hive mind and make sure that we are servicing as many of the school districts in Illinois with coaching as we can.
Nicole and Jen, thank you very much for joining us today.